There is a point in our lives when we begin to transition out of our old selves, simply because we've had enough. Enough of creating our own problems and being unkind to ourselves. There is a point in our lives when the student in us graduates in less than elegant ways into being a master. In both situations, like a baby bird flying out of their nest for the first time, we make that brave and dramatic entry into an unknown threshold. This is a story of stepping out into what was once a fearful place, with our arms open wide. But before all of this, let me take you back into making this piece. Chapter 1. Raw and honest. I love starting a piece with simple charcoal or a pencil sketch. For me, it's not because I want to portray things accurately. I just love the raw simplicity and honesty of the material. Like blood and water that streams through each and every one of our bodies, working with charcoal and pencil reminds me that we are all human. The absence of color puts my portraits under no hierarchy. We are all born of the earth, made from raw materials. Chapter 2. Restless. But somewhere along the way, I get restless. Once I've drawn the key features, I want to begin letting go of control. Deep down, underneath all of my need for perfection, I think that I realize the imperfection of being human. We've all experienced love and heartbreak. For everything we've gained in life, we've had to let go of something that was precious to us. We know what it feels like to feel the warmth of the sun and be brutally thrashed by a merciless wind and rain on a stormy winter's day. And there's a huge need in me to try to express all of these unpredictable moments on the canvas. I want to lay it all down without putting a mask on. Let's be honest about what we love and what frightens us. Something cathartic happens when I start using the fluid materials like spray paint and ink. It's very freeing to work with these materials that I have very little control over. I don't know if I would ever create a painting that I am fully satisfied with without this part of the process. Seeing the interconnected lines and shapes traced across the sketch fascinates me and scares me at the same time. But above all, it makes me feel alive. But if this all feels like I have it all figured out, Let me show you something. Have you ever felt like you know exactly what it is that you're supposed to do, but you avoid doing that thing out of wanting to escape from your fears? Because that's what I feel like has been something that I'm dealing with currently. And it's mainly to do with the fact that I am now in the middle part of my art program, and I only have like 2 or 3 other lessons, which are like learning a couple of techniques like using gold leaf, or learning about oil pastels, and it's just little lessons. What the last 2 parts of the art program contains is just a bunch of videos on time management and sort of, developing that artistic mindset. And during that time of studying like these sorts of organizational promotional videos for artists, we are meant to be developing our portfolio, which contains about 20 paintings. And I have been on the biggest block of my life because I am such a huge perfectionist. I have internally been beating myself up for not knowing what it is that I want to paint, how I want to paint it yet, and it's been like this like huge looming question above my head that happens like every time I start my week, like every time I paint, every time I'm doing these art lessons and reviewing videos, and even every time I record videos. I cried to my husband this afternoon because I just had reached this point where I don't know, I just feel like, I'm just running around in circles. I have so many ideas in my head, but then again, I don't know what is the best idea to start off with. And my husband gave me a really good advice. He told me that, life is never a linear process. And he said, what is the most important thing? Is it to go through the remaining lessons of your art program, or is it to actually, face that block that you've been dealing with? He already knows how much pressure I put on myself, how a lot of the times, like when I'm painting, like you will see from the mess that I'm creating in this painting, like this is so liberating to me. This is why I paint. This is what painting has taught me. And I'm so scared to come back to this space that makes me feel free, like again and again. Like I have this tension inside of me that wants to break free, wants to make a mess. And there is another side of me that holds back, that thinks like very rationally and too logically, to the point where it becomes too rational in my brain that I stop even having fun with the things that I'm doing. I feel like this is the time to actually like face my fear. This is the time to actually paint for the sake of painting. He gave me this advice. He told me, just paint. Like paint what interests you, paint what you're drawn to, paint whatever comes to your mind, just paint. He said, you will find out like what it is that you ultimately want to continue painting, like what your story is, how you want to tell that story through the act of painting. He said it's not gonna come from just, thinking about things. So like I don't know how to even like describe the physical sensations that I have right now. It's pretty much like the scariest thing that I am ever going to be doing. Like my heart feels like it's burning, it's palpitating, and I have a lot of fear because I don't know where this road is gonna take me. Like if I seriously spent, the next couple of months, even, majority of the year, just painting what interests me, painting what I'm drawn to, I really don't know what that means. I think that I I'm just gonna have to sort of go for it without any guarantees, without any sort of, promises, because I question so much to the point where I lose myself in the act of questioning. And when I started to, tell him like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? Like, what about if I do this and what if nothing comes out of it? And he told me like, just have a positive approach to this whole process. Instead of thinking, what if nothing comes out of it? Just be curious. Just take advantage of this opportunity that you have. And he said, you're kind of trying to predict the future again. I think there is still that part of me that wants a safety net. Even though I did quit my job, and that was one of the biggest decisions I've ever done in my life, and I thought that was the scariest thing that I will ever do. But it turns out that the scariest thing that I will ever do is actually to just sit my ass down and paint. Like, who would have thought that would actually be scarier than leaving my 9-to-5 job? I didn't know that this would be scarier than not having like a paycheck every single month. This is genuinely the scariest thing that I've done. And when people think about what is the most fearful thing, I think for a lot of us, even for me, I would say it's like public speaking. I genuinely thought that, my fears would revolve around just stepping outside and facing lots of people. Maybe that might come about one day and that will become, a genuine fear that I experience. But right now, I'm really surprised that, my fear could be so internal. Like that, this fear that I have could be just the fact that I'm fearful of just spending time with myself, with my canvas, with my paints, with my brushes, just to create a number of paintings. So all that to say, I don't know where this road is going to take me. And it's good, I think, just to be honest about my feelings and just to be honest about where I'm at. And we'll see what happens. Chapter 3. Mastery. When a painting is in my studio, it's really easy to project my own theories onto it. But when my mom or my sister sends me a message with a screenshot of my painting they saw me post on social media, I realize that this painting is bigger than me and all my internal judgments. For a long time, I have refused to be anyone other than myself. I ridiculed myself for wanting to paint and sketch women, to express femininity with flowers, to show expression with colors, to embrace imperfection with organic lines. They were all inside me all along. The stories of my grandmother, my mom, my sister, my aunt, the story of me as a woman myself, they have been inside me all along. But because it felt too natural, too readily available, I resisted it. It felt like I had to seek out externally to feel special, to have a special, unique idea. And I think now, after what has felt like years, I'm ready to let go of this desire to be someone else. I grew up in a loving household, but it was also broken. When my mom tells me this painting is beautiful, I know there is a part of her story in there too. The woman who fought for freedom from years of domestic abuse. The woman who cultivated gardens, even when she was uprooted from her home. But in every story of darkness, there is light. And this light isn't pierced at the end of this dark tunnel like a happy ending in a Hollywood movie. We've all faced this period of darkness. How dark this period was, I think, is all relative. But in those moments, we've all had this experience of clawing our way out. Sometimes this darkness makes us question, why is it happening to us? Why me? Painting this is a reminder for me that light is carried from within throughout all the chapters of our lives. I don't know what exactly it is that made us run away from this light. Why we feel like we have to struggle to gain love or success. Why we feel like we don't deserve to feel easeful and embrace gentleness. But I do know that this light is always there, patiently waiting until we can see it again.
wanna tell you that I love you and much more, but I just can't find the words now. I don't wanna keep it to myself, but every time I open my mouth and stop by my pride, yeah. I'll be typing, then deleting. You must think I'm so confused. Baby, baby, if you only knew the truth. Need the moment, need the minute, just as bad as I need you, even though I'm way long overdue. So if you don't have the will to wait, then I don't wanna keep you. I've got so many things to say, need to tell you I need you. I don't wanna keep it to myself, but trust me, even in the silence, time will tell. Time will tell. Oh. Guess I blame it on my past. Used to plan the future way too fast. Why repeat it when it hurts so bad? Why repeat it when it never lasts? I'll be typing, then deleting. You must think I'm so confused. Baby, baby, if you only knew the truth. Need the moment, need the minute, just as bad as I need you, even though I'm way long overdue. So if you don't have the will to wait, then I don't wanna keep you. I've got so many things to say, need to tell you I need you. I don't wanna keep it to myself, but trust me, even in the silence, time will tell. Time will tell. Oh, time will tell. Oh.
Skulle sagt det här för länge sen. Jag borde berätta att jag borde visa dig. Svara på det, jag vet det var dumt av mig. Känner röra vid dig är det speciellt. Du sa månen och solen och sanningen där. I should have told you before, baby, du hela min värld. Vet du vad jag tänker? Så lätt, så lätt. Vet du vad jag tänker? Så lätt, så lätt. Vet du vad jag tänker? Så lätt, så lätt att ha det. Lätt att ha det. Så lätt, så lätt. Abstrakta motstår mig. Abstrakta motstår mig. Det är bra, det behöver konkret.
So I am just on my way to the gym, and I wanted to just have a little bit of a mental download on my inner revelations that's happening currently. This morning I was doing some spring cleaning of my clothes, and all of a sudden I started to get these floods of ideas, and poems started coming into my head again. I used to write a poem every single night for like over, I think, like a year, and that was basically how I came into, you know, the artistic field to begin with. But I have felt blocked for the past, I would say, like at least 2 years, and I really thought that now that I'm pursuing painting, I really started to let go of my sort of poetic side, like the poet in me who, you know, could write meaningful poems, you know, poems that actually make me feel something that matters. And poems and painting series ideas started coming to me at the same time, and it was like this flood of emotions and words and ideas and images. And that also coincides with, you know, finishing this first painting piece that is really like the first piece that I would say is like, you know, a fully fledged painting that I've done outside of following any art program classes or doing painting practices. And I looked at her and I realized that she's actually perfect just as it is. Like, she embodies everything that I feel about life. She embodies what I want to say about life. She's imperfectly perfect, and that's why I love her so much. And I nearly bought another course that would teach me, you know, how to do a website and promote myself and all that kind of stuff, but I held back. And I think I held back for a good reason, because there was a part of me that felt really sick of it, like sick of holding myself back, like sick of saying, you know, oh wait, I'm still in a learning stage, oh wait, I'm still learning, I'm still practicing, I'm still, you know, a student. Because when I look at that painting, and when I look at the new painting that I started working on yesterday, I think that they are complete in their own right. They have their own stories and they have their own meaning to them. And not only that, but I also feel like I have executed these paintings to the utmost best of my ability as it stands. And I realized that I don't need another course to tell me how to make a website. I don't need another tutorial. I don't need another practice. I just feel sick of holding myself back. And I realized that I have a story to tell. I have so many stories to tell. I just need to allow myself to tell them. And I just need to allow myself to have the space to share these stories with other people. So I've decided that I'm, you know, going to revamp my website sometime this year, and I'm gonna put the current paintings that I'm doing up for sale. And it's not up to me, like I'm not in control of whether these paintings are going to sell, who's going to buy them, when they're gonna sell. Like, I'm not in control of that, and I accept that. But what I am in control of is being able to put a space around where, you know, these paintings are valued and validated. You know, I don't think I've ever validated myself and said, you know, I am a good artist. I was born to do this. Like, I words come to me, images come to me, ideas come to me, but I always think I need some more time. And I don't know how the whole story is going to unfold, but I think that I owe it to myself to at least start the chapter and at least start giving a voice to my paintings, giving a voice to my work, and giving them a chance so that they can live beyond me and so that these stories can also live on, and so that these stories can also inspire and make an impact in other people's lives. It's safer to give up on life. It's safer to come up with 100 reasons to why we don't deserve the good things. It's safer to stay a student forever than to declare our heart's calling and desires. It's safer to wear masks than reveal our true face. We all have the scars we bear inside us. But if and when you get sick of your own running, I applaud you. Because that first flight into the scary unknown, for the first time you tell yourself it's okay to feel scared. For the first time you hug yourself and you tell yourself you are going to be okay. For every time you get up in the morning and still keep walking whilst your old self quietly disappears. In those brave first flights, I hope you know that even in the unsteady wings that carry you, that you are flying towards the beacon of your own light.
I'm hushing the dog on the chain. I'm running up stones on the edge of the bank. Rally the troops for another refrain. I sing this softly to myself. I sing this softly